am the Irish guy outright. So Premier League game week 24. Let's see what happened this weekend. Right, let's go. West Ham 0, Arsenal 6. Arsenal are scary. I'm sorry, but to be 4-0 up at half-time at a tough ground like West Ham, absolutely chewing through them as if they're wet spaghetti. I said in my predictions video that David Moyes used to be a thorn in the Arsenal side when he was Everton boss, and he was. But he also had one freak result. When on the opening day of the 09-10 season, Arsenal travelled to Goodison Park and were 4-0 up after 48 minutes. I mean, they won the match 6-1. The first half was shockingly similar. I mean, today, a French centre-back called William scored for Arsenal. At Everton, a French centre-back called William scored for Arsenal. A highly rated Belgian scored in the first half for Arsenal today. A highly rated Belgian scored in the first half at Everton too. A Brazilian forward got on the score sheet for Arsenal today. A Brazilian forward got on the score sheet at Everton too. Okay, I know Eduardo officially played for Croatia, but come on, he was Brazilian. So that is really eerie. Now listen, that was a terrible result and a shocking start of the season. But there was no panic button at Goodison Park. Moyes wasn't immediately binned and replaced with, I don't know, who was flavour of the month back then? Owen Coyle? No, they kept him. Everton had a great season, and within 4 years, he was Manchester United boss. So I don't want to hear any ungrateful West Ham fans cheering for the Moyes sack. Yes, in the summer, at the end of the season, I would recommend they move on from the Scotsman, shake his hand, wish him well, and go for an ambitious upgrade like Jose Mourinho or Thomas Tuchel. But for a man who has lifted a European trophy at this club, he deserves better than a reactionary sack days before Valentine's Day. Yes, this would be painful for West Ham. Rise above, old boy Declan Rice helped himself to 2 first-half assists. That must have been awful to sit through, but just relax. As for Arsenal, though, this was scary. This was a terrifying win, honestly. Absolutely incredible. They are very much in the title race. This was the best Arsenal performance of the season. They were absolutely monstrous. And I'm sorry, but to beat Liverpool and then to go out there and score that many goals at West Ham, that is insane. That is unbelievable. Arsenal could be a bigger threat than anybody ever thought. I gave them no chance in the title race. I don't know. That is just a real statement of intent. Traveling to West Ham and scoring that many goals. Mikel Arteta, what a manager he has turned out to be. I don't think they'll do it this season, but the rate they're going, if Arsenal keep playing like this, they're going to finish above Liverpool. Liverpool 3, Burnley 1. Play the clip.
Liverpool 3, Burnley 0. For every goal that Burnley do score against Liverpool, I will poke toast in my eye.
Ow. Why? Why did I say this? The absolute irony that the Irish guy just lost a forfeit because another Irish guy scored. Dara O'Shea from Dublin, the literal capital of my nation. By the way, apparently Ireland are going to appoint a manager next week. If it's anyone other than Lee Carsley, my head is going to burst. So tune in next week to see my reaction to that. Well lads, O'Shea is so quintessentially Irish. Somebody who probably had his first pint when he was 4. So of course he has to ruin my perfect prediction by netting a goal at Anfield. This is getting really annoying because last week I said that if Burnley scored at the Etihad, I would get someone to pelt 10 water balloons at my head. Burnley seemed to like losing 3-1 at these big colossal grounds. I've really got to stop backing them not to score. And you know what? I said that if Burnley even got a result, like even a draw, then I would pour a bucket of red paint over my head. I am lucky. I am so lucky. Because if the likes of David Thatcher Fofana had taken his gilt-edged chances, served to him on a plate, then right now, I'd probably be having to shave myself bald, get rid of the red dead hair. I look like the clown from McDonald's. I am actually so lucky that I'm not having to spend the next 9 hours scraping paint off my skin with a moldy toothbrush. Because lads, there was no Alisson in goal for Liverpool. Now instead, this was an Irish guy scoring against another Irish guy, Caoimhín O'Ron Kelleher from Cork. You know, Ireland's number 2. Lads, I was truly excited when this kid was sitting on the bench for Liverpool in the Champions League final. I was thinking he was some budding young superstar goalkeeper, wonder kid, like the Irish Iker Casillas. Yeah. He's no longer young anymore. He turns 26 years old this year. And this was just his 8th league match in any league. It's not like this guy was even playing League of Ireland football for Cork. No, he's just 4 years off 30 and has virtually 0 experience. It's like a woman going on a date with a 40-year-old man who never even kissed a girl. 26 is not young. He's only 1 year younger than Amy Winehouse when she died. He's nearly halfway to 52. 26 years old. When Joe Hart was 26, he was Manchester City in England number 1 and winning his 3rd Premier League Golden Glove on the trot. When Shay Given was 26, he was playing regular Champions League football for Newcastle. When David De Gea was 26, he was arguably the greatest goalkeeper in the world. Do you see where I'm going with this? Kelleher needs first team football, or he's just going to spend his life being about as relevant as the wart on Maggie Smith's chin. If he continues to wallow in the background at Liverpool, he is going to have a CV that's about as impressive as a laminated Costa Coffee menu. How could it be that a goalkeeper could have played more games for his country than in actual actual league football. I want him to do well, but I won't lie. I'm scared when I watch him play in the Premier League now because he often looks like a frightened little bunny rabbit who's too insecure to take a poo in his pen. This is a guy who was given a chance against Fulham at Anfield before Christmas, and he let in 3. In his previous Premier League match, he was conceding 4 at already relegated Southampton. But yeah, the real takeaway from this match was the overreaction online.
Darwin once again showing his Ballon d'Or levels based on pure instinct.
Darwin Núñez Ballon d'Or levels. Is that a joke? Núñez is an £85 million striker who has 17 goals in 52 Premier League appearances. Haaland, who didn't even win the Ballon d'Or this year, he has played 1 more game than Núñez and has 52 goals. Núñez is a decent player, but honestly, he has about as much chance of winning a Ballon d'Or as I do of flying to Mars and marrying an alien. Honestly, if Núñez does win a Ballon d'Or in his career, I will fly to his hometown in Uruguay and crawl around in the dirt, wearing nothing but a towel and begging for forgiveness. Luton Town 1, Sheffield United 3. This is a crushing, devastating, and needless defeat for Luton Town. Lads, because I am sick of my milky showers, I have been open to the fact that I'm quite happy to see Luton lose games or trickle back down the leagues. But I'm sorry, if I'm a Luton fan, then this result is the height of frustration. When newly promoted Blackpool came up in 2010, they were magnificent. The tiniest budget ever seen in Premier League history, and yet Ian Holloway sent them out to be an incredibly brave unit, just going for it in every match. They won at St James's Park. They beat Liverpool twice. They smashed up Champions League Tottenham at home. There were so many incredible results squeezed in there, but if you can beat Liverpool twice in one season, you should not be losing to Birmingham at home, a Birmingham team who also got relegated that year. If Blackpool had just won that home match against a pretty grim Brum team coached by Alex McLeish, they would have finished 16th on 42 points. Not only that, but just that one win over Birmingham at home would mean that Blackpool would have actually finished that season just 7 points off 8th, 7 points off European football. Just 5 points away from finishing in the top 10. People probably find my Blackpool 2010 obsession really weird, considering they did finish second last, but because it was such a close, tight table, they were far better than the table says. 39 points keeps you safe in virtually every other season, but all they had to do was just beat a horrible Brum. Now, they sloppily lose, letting Alex Hleb and Scott Dan score, and because of that, they wind up relegated in 19th. Just 1 point from survival. How frustrating! When these little tiny underdogs carve out these impressive wins, like Luton did against Brighton last week, to then just bottle their good work in far easier fixtures, it is really annoying. It's a bit like being in a horror film and you see the teen babysitter. Instead of, calling the police when she hears a monster eating one of the children upstairs, instead she just chooses to boil a cup of tea. Yeah, it's not my fault when the monster is then going to eat you in a pie. This could well be the result that ends up relegating Luton. Coming up against the bereft virtual corpse of Sheffield United, a team with almost no hope, and yet you can see 3? Yes, I realize both penalties were incredibly strange. And it is a bit awkward in the McAtee household. Little bro James scoring against Luton. His older brother John has a contract with Luton Town. It's all very weird. Man City 2, Everton 0. So far, I have not got a perfect prediction right this weekend. So I am really praying for Chelsea to win 4-0 on Monday night, because if not, I can't remember what forfeit it was, but I know I'm doing something weird next week. Look, Haaland absolutely destroyed Jarrett Branthwaite, shrugging him off in a 1-on-1 as if he's made of straw. This young Branthwaite, who apparently has a £100 million price tag on his head. Do you see how ridiculous English tax is? Apparently, if Branthwaite moves clubs this summer, he'll be moving for twice the price tag the City paid for Haaland. He will cost twice Haaland's transfer fee. And yet the Norwegian bulldozer just made him look like some lost Eskimo who somehow wound his way onto a football pitch. Branthwaite is decent, but he's gonna be no better than Chris Smalling. But Everton lost. They're still in the relegation zone, so yep.
I'm getting really sick of this.
Fulham 3, Bournemouth 1. Play the clip.
Fulham 1, Bournemouth 3. I'll go with a 3-1 win. Goals from Dominic Solanke, Luis Sinisterra, and a young French star Romain Fav. An easy 3-1 win. And to prove it, if Bournemouth don't beat Fulham this weekend, then I will pour 3 bowls of Cocoa Pops on my head.
Oh dear.
Here we go. Oh no! As DJ Khaled once said, another one. No! And finally, yeah!
Why was I so confident about Bournemouth winning this match? Antonio Iraola, is he hustling me? I was so excited when the Cherries went on a run of winning 6 of their 7 league games between mid-November and Christmas. But now they failed to win the last 5, and this was incredibly sloppy. After just 6 minutes, Lewis Cook collapses in the box, allowing Bobberdé Cordova-Reid to just easily rifle into the bottom corner. I haven't seen such a horrible mistake from a cook since I found a dead mouse in my lasagna with a spoon. But lads, who saw Rodrigo Muniz scoring twice? I'll tell you what, Armando Broja, sitting on the Fulham bench, probably felt like biting off his own thumb. He was supposed to be the big Fulham centre-forward saviour, gobbling up all the goals of Craven Cottage. Muniz Nunes. Is he related to that kid off Malcolm in the Middle? You know, some actor who most of the internet probably assumes has since died in his Hollywood flat and is now just being eaten by cats. But lads, Nunes, after absolutely 0 goals for Fulham up until now he has 3 goals in his last 2 games. 3 goals since Broja joined last week. It's almost like the arrival of the big Albanian striker from Stamford Bridge has just decided to wake him up. Tottenham 2, Brighton 1. Play the clip.
Tottenham 3, Brighton 2. This is going to be another goal fest. I know it is. There are 7 matches on Saturday, right? If Tottenham versus Brighton is not in the first 3 games shown on Match of the Day, then I will eat a sausage roll off the wheel of a random bicycle.
Yes! Oh, get in! Thank you! Whoever decides the running order on Match of the Day, I could kiss you on the mouth. I bet it's someone who looks like the fat frog at Monsters Inc. But lads, this game was lucky to be third in Match of the Day. This squeaked in before a 5-goal thriller in Nottingham. What? But listen, to be fair, this was a good game. It was essentially Tottenham and Brighton cancelling each other out with the same game plan. The players scurrying like angry rats to win back possession and just keep the ball on the deck. It meant there were a lot of turnovers in every match. And I realize that sounds like awful Super Bowl terminology, but it's true. I know they lost, but Brighton were good. But again, Brighton confused me. Roberto De Zerbi missed this game with toothache. His number 2 faced the post-match interviews. But considering his voice was so hoarse from all the shouting, I'm not sure if this was an Italian coach breaking down the game plan, or if this was someone threatening me on the day of his daughter's wedding. But lads, some people have complained because Mikel Arteta at the start of the season told the press that he had 2 number 1s. He doesn't. He very clearly has 1 goalkeeper who starts and 1 who doesn't. But with Brighton, it's so weird. Jason Steele has played 14 games in the league this season. Bart Verbruggen has played 10. The goalkeeping position is arguably the most important one on the pitch. That is the one where you need stability. You can't just chop and change every 6 minutes. This isn't the Paul Pogba haircut. But yeah, I mean, there seems to be no rhyme or reason based on whether Steele plays or not. It's like the decision comes down to a game of rock, paper, scissors. Lads, Steele was in goal when Brighton conceded 6 at Villa Park in September. He was dropped. You'd assume that would be it for the season, especially considering they signed a Belgian wonderkid in the summer. No. He only sat out 1 game and then came back in. And again, he picked the ball up at his own net against Luton 4 times 2 weeks ago. He was then dropped for the home win over Crystal Palace, but is now back in net. I don't get it. Don't get me wrong, this man whose career was virtually over after being laughed off the telly and Sun until I die. He was very clearly a 3rd choice goalie who would never play at Brighton. The fact that he's now getting any minutes on the pitch, but he won't be complaining that he's in and out. No, if anything, the entire Steele family would probably happily lick De Zerbi's armpits if he so wished for everything the Italian coach has done for their boy. But again, it's strange. Wolves 0, Brentford 2. Play the clip.
Wolves 3, Brentford 0. Wolves would run riot. Mateus Cunha, Pedro Neto, and Hanky Chan with the goals.
The one time I actually backed Gary O'Neill to do well, and this is what he offers up. This horrible, putrid, wet muffin of a result. Wolves were welcoming a Brentford team in complete free fall to Molyneux. Wolves have been free scoring since Christmas, ripping most defenses to shreds, including Brentford 3 weeks ago. And instead, 2-0 to the Bees. Christian Norgard and Ivan Toney with the goals. Nottingham Forest 2, Newcastle 3. This was a spectacular win. I'm sorry, but what a crazy, almost insane match. This was Bruno destroying Nuno. I know it was a crazy scoreline, but that was a very deserved Newcastle win. They virtually controlled the game from start to finish, which is impressive considering that Dan Burn was a laughable liability on the pitch. This is someone who was easily outpaced by Chidozio Benning last week. And here again, Anthony Elanga made Burn look like a human wheelie bin. And yes, it did cost Newcastle a goal. Teams are targeting Burn at left back because he's clearly a centre back playing out of position. I would beat Dan Burn in a race, and I am an amateur footballer. But listen, Bruno Guimaraes smacked in 2 wonderful goals, either side of a Fabian Schär strike. And yeah, this was a special Newcastle win, who are finally out of their slump and once again looking dangerous for the goal. People like to speak about the negatives. Again, there was weak defending, but I'm sorry, the Magpies have played 7 games in 2024 so far. They have scored 17 goals. 2 against Liverpool, 2 against Man City, 3 against Aston Villa, 4 against Luton, 3 against Forest, 3 against Sunderland, and 2 against Fulham. Forget the sloppiness. Forget the negatives. Focus on the positives, please. But I'm sorry, 17 goals scored in 7 games. Offer any Newcastle fan that at the start of 2020 before lockdown, and they would snap your hand off. For me, that was arguably the lowest point of the Mike Ashley regime. Everything just seemed so pointless and dreary. Newcastle played 9 league games in 2020 before football was cancelled. They scored 4 goals. 3 of those goals were scored after the 94th minute. Isaac Hayden versus Chelsea and Florian Lejeune with 2 at Everton. So really, they'd only netted 1 goal before the 90th minute in each of those 9 league games. In the space of 1 freezing cold month, Newcastle fans had to sit through 3 horrible 0-0 draws at St James's Park against Norwich, Burnley, and Oxford. So to see all the goals they're scoring now, with Steve Bruce such a long forgotten memory. Sorry, but for Newcastle fans, this should feel like living in a fairy tale. What is weird though, and unforgivable about this match, is that Ben Brereton Diaz was sitting in the crowd. I know he's injured, but if I'm a Blade, then I am furious. Instead of being at Luton to support his teammates in the most important game of the season, this new signing is instead spending his weekend watching his former club and Relegation rival? Don't forget that. I mean, with matchday traffic, it would probably take about 3 hours to get from Luton to Nottingham, right? So make no mistake, there is no way he was at Sheffield's game to instead spend his weekend watching a relegation enemy. It is so strange and unloyal. It's been like me choosing to skip my own mum's birthday to instead go bowling with the town scumbag who stole her purse. I'm sorry, Ben, but you've just signed for Sheffield United. This is such a horrible way. I mean, did you not think you'd be spotted by the cameras? This is idiotic. This is like bunking off school to go to an X Factor audition. Yeah, if that episode winds up on TV, your mum's gonna hit you with a brick.
Aston Villa 1, Man United 2. This is a huge, colossal win for Manchester United. This feels so important. A few weeks ago, Erik ten Hag was on the verge of the sack, or at least that's what it felt like. Before Christmas, it seemed unthinkable that ten Hag would actually do the league double over Unai Emery. But that's what's happened. I predicted a Manchester United win, and they did it. Goals from Rasmus Højlund and Scott McTominay. This team have turned a corner. That's what it feels like. But Aston Villa, oh dear. This was another dreadful result. Villa Park was supposed to be a fortress, right? No defeats in a year. They've now lost 3 times here in the past 12 days. Don't forget, they were seconds away from losing at home to Sheffield United before Christmas too. Villa and Emery are having a huge, massive wobble. And it reminds me of the Emery wobble at Arsenal in the spring of 2019, when, despite them flying at the start of the season, with 7 consecutive league wins, they did just bottle Champions League qualification in the spring, and also ripped apart by Chelsea in the Europa League final. This is a great win for Manchester United, but if I'm a Villa fan, then I am very worried.